Alright. I was gonna start this video off the usual way. However, in light of recent situations and me getting fucking hacked and losing a lot, I don't have FL Studio anymore. My vocals for this is not going to be crispy, and I want to do a new style. I want to be more funnier, you know what I'm saying? So we're gonna be doing this a little different. It's still gonna be, you know, the same old. It's still gonna be the basic analysis and things of that nature. But I'm being a little bit of my more self. I'm not being too serious, although we are still being serious. Some of the shit is bad, but you know, we gonna be a lot more energetic, and you know, I think it's something we should all enjoy. I get to, you know, show off some of the personality. You know what I'm saying? With that being said, okay, let's just start it, right? Alright, so my name is SoulArts. Welcome back to another video about Bumbleby. Why? Is it because my most video is the most popular? No, it isn't, actually. It's actually really not. It's because I keep seeing Bumbleby stuff and it pisses me off, and I just gotta sit here and talk about it, because being on Twitter and talking about RWBY is a terrible idea, because you're 9 times out of 10 going to get attacked if you have any, and I mean any, sort of criticism. So I just wanted to state why Bumbleby is so fucking terrible, and this is gonna be very different from my other video, because I have to admit I was wrong on a certain point. So let's just get into the point I was wrong about. So to start this off, we got a popular clip of Monty talking about queer characters being in RWBY. So let's play that clip right now.
Asking if there will be any queer characters in RWBY.
Sure, absolutely. The best part about that is, you know, maybe they're there now because they're kids. So we're on a path to try to help them discover themselves. So, I mean, I don't think they even need to make that. We don't even need to make that decision right away, because we are, as we write these characters, we learn about them and kind of help them figure themselves out. They're very real to us. So, you know, we're definitely not opposed to it. A lot of us are for it. Even like I have some cast members and some crew members who are like, this would be really cool. But the thing is, we can't just shove it out there. It has to be earned, which is the better way to do it. And a lot of these characters, we try to look at them outside of their gender. So we want to do what's natural for them.
So, does Monty ever say Blake and Yang are queer? Fucking no. Guess what? He says queer characters are in RWBY, and yeah, sure, it applies now. But that's the thing, it applies now. That shit could apply to anybody. Did the Bumbleby fans ever think about that? That could apply to anyone. Want to know who else is queer? Scarlet David. Coco is lesbian. You know, we have some queer characters in RWBY. It just says, are there going to be queer characters in RWBY? That does not mean Blake and Yang. Just because the shoe fits doesn't mean it was entitled for them.
It's been so hard to sit on that for so long.
Yeah.
I mean, because, you know, we obviously knew this was coming for a while, and then we wrote this a long time ago.
2020.
In 2020,
Yeah. We wrote it.
We've been just waiting.
I think we've also known this was going to happen even before Volume 1.
It's been a thing. It has been a thing for a very long time. We're very happy, and we're happy for them. And I know there's, you know, a big community out there that loves to see it.
Yeah.
And we love to see it too.
I love to see it over and over and over again.
Okay, so the second clip here, it's just everybody in a room, and it's like all the writers and shit. And, you know, you could pretty much say this is pretty much concrete evidence. But it's just the fact that Barbara is just jumps out of the woodworks and is like, you know, I love to see it. You know, they like, bro, we get it. You love Bumbleby, okay? We get it. It's your character. You've been hyping it up. You've been pump faking this shit all the way since the start of the series, like you fucking Carmelo Anthony. We get it. We truly do get it. You haven't even kept this hidden. You've been on Discord, like people have caught you on Discord saying that, like, I can't believe people thought Yang was like liked man or some shit. Like I don't got the exact screenshot anymore because my laptop got fucking, you know, like, bro, like what the fuck? Like, it just feels weird to have her like come out of nowhere and be the center of attention when she doesn't need to be the center of attention, you know?
Our characters, Blake and Yang, finally kissed.
Yeah!
And said, I love you.
I love you!
Bumbleby is canon, baby.
Yeah.
I want to talk to you too about how it's felt keeping this in for as long as we have. Because
I don't know if I've been doing a very good job, to be honest.
I feel like we've known about this almost the entirety of RWBY airing.
Yeah.
Like we knew some details about our character, but we knew ultimately that Blake and Yang would fall in love.
Yeah. There's that little bit that we didn't know was recording back when we first started like this table read thing, and I say like, can I say that my character and another character are lesbian lovers? And Miles goes, absolutely not.
Absolutely not. And I think Kara goes, not yet.
Yeah. And we didn't know like that was live at that point, so I feel like we've played that off pretty cool. Well, I've played it off pretty cool. I can't keep my mouth shut. That's the thing.
When you're excited about something, it's hard to.
I don't feel bad about it.
Which the restraint that we've been
truly
demonstrating for the last 10 years is tough.
Yeah. And I feel like every season while the writers are writing it, I've always just been like, all right, is it happening? Is it happening this season? And I always just get so grumpy. We're like, no, we're going to slow burn. I'm like, I hate you.
Yeah.
Okay, fine.
Like, I always think about, like, obviously reading audience reactions and stuff like that and from the RWBY fandom, and they've been so excited and so supportive.
Yeah.
But I'm just like, if you guys think you've been waiting long, think about us.
Yeah, and we knew.
So they expect us to believe from this clip that they didn't get much information about the character they're voicing when they work for Rooster Teeth, and like this is their biggest claim to fame, and apparently this is a small indie company, so information gets passed by really easily. You're expecting me to believe you didn't get much information about your character. You telling me they hired you and said, yeah, Blake and Yang get together at the end, but we're not gonna tell you anything else about the character. Blake dealing with racism? Nope, not at all. What does that mean? Blake being, abused and having a toxic ex, like Adam? Nope, not at all. Yang, your mother? What about your mother? What about, like, are you kidding me right now? Like, we barely had information about our characters, but they gave us this one detail that they're going to be at the end of the series. It just sounds like cap. It just sounds stupid. Like, it's just very stupid. Also, keeping this quiet, like, I already mentioned this before, but you guys have literally not kept this quiet. From reading fan fiction, like, posting the OnlyFans shit. I mean, that was afterwards, but posting the OnlyFans shit, to being caught in Discord, to slipping on live streams, to doing all this shit together, to like saying these jokes like fucking bro, you're not like if you think you're silent, you're not like you're not Neapolitan. You're not silent at all. You're actually the most yapping about this. I don't know. I don't know. Anyways, to talk about something we do know, we have a statement from Miles, a writer, a trusted source. Thank the heavens. We have a trusted source. So let's see what Miles has to say about the romance in volume 1 through 3. Also, sidebar really quickly, a lot of people talk about, the live stream slip up.
Yeah. Can I mention that my character and another character are lesbian?
No, absolutely. Up of Arryn. But even Arryn, when she tries to say this was about Bumbleby, it's not about Bumbleby because it had nothing to do with Bumbleby. Arryn admitted this herself on Tumblr years ago. I had a constant joke before the characters were all fleshed out and personalities created that Pyrrha and Blake were lesbian lovers and no one except she and Blake knew it. I annoyed the guys endlessly with my lesbian lover jokes. Jen Brown was all about it. So first off, this is just to say this has nothing to do with Blake and Yang. So for anybody to come out and be like, this is proof that Blake and Yang was planned from the start. No. It's not even about them. It's about Blake and Pyrrha, two characters I don't even think ever interacted in the series like in a scene. I don't think they've ever interacted in a scene. So the ship just doesn't the ship doesn't make sense. It kind of just falls flat. However, I know a lot of people would like to sit here and say, oh, but this shows Blake's sexuality. Blake isn't even a lesbian. Blake is like bi. Blake is like bi or pan. But lesbian don't fit into that. Lesbian, you gotta like straight straight woman. Like you gotta like straight woman. Like she likes men. She likes men. She has a attraction towards men as well. You can't just snuff that. I'm not saying, you know, she doesn't like females. Of course she does. You know, she's literally dating Yang. You can't say she doesn't, but it's just to say you can't say this what like no, like Blake isn't even a lesbian. So like Arryn's statement is automatically wrong. Like it's automatically something you can't take serious.
But I did think it might be interesting of just like something I learned working on a show that had a romance in it that then ended up blowing up. That was like just a crazy experience. Shipping's wild, dude. Like shipping's really wild. When we first started the show and we're planning things out and getting to work on stuff, we were all bright-eyed, bushy-tailed, had no idea what we were getting into. And, you know, we had Blake, Beauty, from Beauty and the Beast. Everybody thinks she's cute and pretty and wants to date her. She's bisexual queen. And so we were like, yeah, like, everybody should, like, not everybody, but it would make sense if a lot of people were, like, into her. And it would be fun to play with, like, being a teenager and, like, being in teenage relationships and crushes and flirting and things like that. And, you know, I think early on we were like, it might be cool when we introduce Sun. There's like this Sun-Blake Faunus connection. He's obviously very like dashing and handsome. He's charming and charismatic. He's a big old flirt. And so we were like, oh yeah, it might be kind of fun to have like Blake interacting with Sun in like a will they won't they kind of manner. And then over the course of a much longer relationship with Yang, having a really special friendship then turn into a like, oh my gosh, like, is this maybe more than a friendship? And the insecurities that come with that, plus all the drama and baggage surrounding those two characters and everything that they went through with the Fall of Beacon and with the White Fang. And now we're at like, finally, after 9 volumes, are able to both be in a place where they felt like they could admit their feelings with one another and trust in one another. And I'm really, 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 really happy with how Bumbleby has come to be. But I think if I were to go back and do things differently, I don't know if we would be as like cavalier with like the, ooh, is she like kind of into Sun sort of thing? Because that seemed to just make people really angry, which was never like the goal. The goal was like, hey, let's recreate that teenage crush mix of emotions with like different people. And, you know, when maybe one person might like somebody, but they're just not in the emotional or like mature enough space to have a relationship. Like relationships are really messy and complicated. And sometimes you can look back and be like, maybe that could have been something, but not with the person that I was then. Maybe the person I am now, but the person I am now is we're going off. We're going in different directions. We're doing different things. And we thought that would be like cool and, you know, as realistic as you could get in a real, you know, shonen anime kids fighting monsters kind of story.
All right, so since this is a statement from a writer, let's kind of take this as law and let's take this a little serious. Bumblebee was planned from the start. They had the ideas for it, and the only reason Sun existed was because they wanted to play a little teenage romance with it, and then they wanted to snuff it and push it to the side. Okay, that's fair. Bumblebee was planned from the start, and if a lot of people wanted to argue that, that's fine. The writers said it themselves, and I could admit I was wrong in my last video. Bumblebee was planned from the start. Now, on the outside looking in, it does not look like that. Like I analyzed the whole fucking series. There are no signs that them motherfuckers like each other or are trying to get like with each other until like volume 6. But their intention was for it to be there in volume 1. Did they do a good job? Fuck no. But I can admit that it was planned because it was their intention and it's what they were going for, although it wasn't clear. So could you really say this is what Monty wanted? Yeah, you could. Maybe this was Monty's plan all along. However, I don't think you would have planned it out like this. I don't think you would have executed it like this. Like, I feel like if you had the pen, right? If you wanted Bumblebee to be a thing and you wanted to shaft Sun, you would have did it in the best way possible. You would have made it extremely clear, and Bumblebee would have probably been done way like fantastically better. Like, it probably would have been done like extremely better. I feel like if you were still here, it would have been perfect, right? I would have no complaints with this ship whatsoever. I could admit that Bumbleby is planned from the start, and for anybody that was sitting here like, this isn't what Monty wanted, da 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 la la la, right? Don't, because nobody knows what Monty wanted. Even in my Monty video, I state directly, nobody knows what Monty wanted. Maybe everything that they're doing is exactly what Monty wants. However, execution would have probably been way better if Monty was still here. And that's the statement I think that should be carried. Nobody really knows what he wants. You know, you could assume what he wants from interviews, and I've done that before, and you could theorize, and that's perfectly fine. I think theorizing is fine as long as you're not using it as a form to demean people. Perfectly fine. But I think it would be much more of a better statement to say he wouldn't have went about it like this, and he wouldn't have executed it like this, which brings me into my next statement. Execution. Bumbleby may have been planned from the start, but goddamn is this execution terrible, and it only makes me dislike Bumbleby more, right? So let me get serious. Let me, instead of being super hyperactive, right, let me be serious. This ship sucks. Like, it's not amazing. It's written pretty poorly. It's executed pretty poorly, and I just don't enjoy it. Like, I truly just don't. And before anybody comes out of nowhere and saying it's because, you know, Blake and Yang are gay, no, I truly don't care. If they want it to be like with each other at the end of the day, I wouldn't care. It just has to be executed and written good. Why do you think I like Luz and Amity and Owl House? Not fucking homophobic. Like, I'm fine with these characters being who they are and dating who they are. Gender has nothing to do with it. It's just if it's written good, and this just isn't written good. And if it is written good, it's definitely not executed good. And that's just to say, this series been like, what, if they planned this shit from the beginning, like beginning before RWBY even started, this shit had like 11, 12 years to marinate, for you to think, for you to get all the ideas for, to execute it properly, and you guys still fucked up at execution. And for all the people that are gonna be sitting here saying, oh, Bumbleby is executed flawlessly, I like it, shh. Look at the internet. Instead of sitting in the community that likes to dick suck RWBY, look at the community outside of the people that dick suck RWBY and tell me how they feel about Bumbleby. Because most people don't care. Other people don't like it. A lot of people hate it. And on rare occasions, people have dropped the show because of this fucking ship. I'm not gonna sit here and say it's the worst thing ever, because it's not. Like, it's far from the worst thing ever. It's just not good, and it just takes away from other shit we could have. And it's just to say it's disappointing. If you consider every, you know, opinion that isn't praised for this series negative, don't do that. Look at other people's opinions and understand where they're coming from. Don't automatically assume motherfuckers are homophobic. Please listen to the point they are saying. Please, it would help a lot. You would actually be doing the community a service, because it would stop a lot of bullshit. Rant aside, right? Rant aside. Please, and I mean please, look at videos about Bumbleby and look at other people's opinions on Bumbleby. Not everyone loves it. This isn't the world-saving ship. It isn't that. It isn't the worst thing ever, but you have to consider opinions. From what I've seen, a majority of people don't like this ship. And just because you're on Twitter and just because you're on Reddit and you are literally in communities that love the ship, it doesn't mean that ship is amazing. If I like Shinko and I'm in a fucking Reddit called I Love Shinko, and I have a Discord called I Will Worship Shinko, and I have a fucking Tumblr that says fucking I'd sniff Shinko's feet or some shit, right? Clearly, if I have 100 members in all of those fucking places, they're all going to love Shinko. I have to clearly go outside of those own boxes and like probably look at like a Darkstalkers page just regularly to see Shinko is a bad character. Here's why. And then you could understand why, and you could, like, you know, maybe be like, okay, this is bullshit, maybe this is whatever. But it's just to say, gain a lot of opinion. We don't know, you know, the exact percentage of love to hate. We don't know that ratio. A lot of people don't fuck with this shit, right? From like what you see on the internet, and it's not because any homophobic tendencies or nature. I'm not saying that doesn't exist. It does, you know, some of these motherfuckers are weird. However, a majority of this shit isn't from homophobia. A majority of this shit is just because it's executed poorly. I'm positive nobody would ever care about fucking Bumbleby and treat it bad if it was just executed and written good. Like, it would be like 1% of people. But besides that, if it was executed and written good, I don't think anybody would give a fuck. And just to bring my point back, because I've been rambling and going on for so long and etc, 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 it's just to simply say, Bumbleby is disappointing and it's still terrible, because if this was planned from the start, it makes it look worse. How do you have 12 years to prepare something and what you prepare is still mediocre? And yeah, a lot of people love Bumbleby because they love these characters, but if you take away your personal attachment from these characters and look at it from a writing standpoint, it's disappointing. I love Neo. She is my favorite character in this series, but if I look at the series as a whole, I can simply say Neo is carried by her fighting and how cute she is. I can simply say that and a bunch of people will agree with me, because that's what Neo is carried off of. You don't know much about Neo, and that's the thing. You don't have to know much about Neo, but it helps. If you go out to read the books, she becomes so much more than just a cute face and a cool fighting style, and that makes her so much more better, and that's why I consider Neo one of the best written characters in RWBY. Sure, you could give it to Salem, sure you could give it to Ozma and a bunch of other people, but I give it to Neo because of relatability, and that's what I like in series and shows and things of that nature. And it's to simply say, this is disappointing. It doesn't do much for Blake and or Yang, and like I said, it just feels weird. It just feels disappointing. It's just not that good. If you remove your personal attachment and take in volume 1 through 3, they barely have any moments together. Volume 4, she hates, Yang hates Blake. Volume 5, Yang hates Blake and they sort of make up. Volume 6, Yang and Blake kill Adam, and yay, now they're crushing. They didn't even have a talk. They didn't reconcile. They didn't do anything. This ship hasn't benefited the characters much. If you remove your personal bias and or love for just both of these characters or wanting to see them together, ship just isn't good. The writing just doesn't write and the executing just doesn't execute. Oh yeah, to all the Bumbleby fucking dick suckers out there, the fucking Bumbleby brigade, if anybody was to come here and fucking tell me you should delete your fucking Bumbleby is ruining RWBY video because a big portion of that is wrong, and yeah, sure, 9 minutes of that was focused on if Bumbleby was planned from the start in a 35-minute video, so that's like what, 26% of my video is like useless, but that's only 26%. That's not enough to literally make me delete that video. It does suck that 26% of that video is now wrong, so I'm kind of spreading misinformation. So I'm sorry. These videos are used to inform, and gain knowledge and etc, etc. So for anybody like that, I'm so sorry that 26% of that video is useless information, but that does not disprove the other 74%. I'm not deleting the video. I'm not. If anybody came into my fucking comments trying to say that, I'm not deleting my video. Suck my dick. Actually swallow me to the base. But yeah, that video is still integral to a bunch of points, and for anybody that's like, oh, but I knew Bumbleby was planned since the beginning, good for you, but not everybody knows Bumbleby is planned from the beginning. There are a bunch of people that just watch the show and are like, okay. And here's me being real with y'all. I feel like if Yang was to be incorporated how she was in Ice Queendom, where she was standing up against Weiss for Blake, it would make a better claim when Weiss was on her racist arc. But the fact that Yang kind of just stared and sat there awkwardly, it doesn't make it a good claim, because Yang is out of volume 1 through 3, she's only there for 3 solo moments with Blake, and that's it. The rest are team moments. Also, it just still affects Sun's character, because his purpose was to be ditched. What is Sun's purpose throughout the series? Yeah, he had some cool moments, yeah, he looked cool, but he was also helped Blake and fought Roman because he liked Blake and care for Faunus, and that also gave us the White Flame plot. He was one of the people in the tournament that was coming up, so it helped us with that plot point, especially for Penny and all those other things, and then we got to see his team in the tournament, and we got to see Blake and him. So it's for all this to be curved, it's if you remove Sun and just have him be curved, what is Sun now? Is Sun just a really good friend doing this? Because I don't know, it just feels weird. It just changes the whole perception and perspective of Sun being there for me. It's just a bit weird. And since these videos are here for criticism, I just gotta say it. If their intention was to shaft Sun, they should have made that very clear in volume 6, or volume 5 or whatever, the fucking volume where he goes away, it should have been clear, because Blake doesn't break up with Sun. Like, if you look at the intention, or if you look at the last scene, it doesn't come off as a breakup at all. It just comes off like Sun did his job. He helped Blake, and now he's gonna go back to his team. And I mean, he kind of has a tendency to do that. She ran away, he helped her and brought her back to her team, and then he searched for her after the fall of Beacon, helped her and reunited her back with her team. I don't know, it just feels like Sun is like the, damn, Blake is sad and is in trouble and going through a lot. Okay, we're gonna throw Sun in, have him help, and then just push her to her team. I feel like if they really wanted to make it obvious, they could have just showed signs of like, yo, we're good friends. You know, it's very easy to like show a friendship, and this just didn't come off as a friendship from everything down to it, you know. And if you were treating that relationship like it was a relationship, that's perfectly fine, but you just had to have a fall off point, and it didn't have a fall off point because it's just like Sun leaves and then boom, Adam, and then oh, Adam's dead, okay, we're crushing. It's like there's no maybe I should think about Sun, or oh, yo, how do you think Sun would feel? Oh, well, you know, I wasn't looking at him like that, or etc, etc. You know, just a slight mention of Sun and how she feels would have probably went a long way, but they don't do that, so it just feels a bit weird. It's like Sun's one job is to be a fucking therapist, help Blake, and then leave. Like, that's it. Like, he just lifts her spirits, and then they just go on. And I guess you could say Sun is kind of disappointing in that aspect, because it just feels like Sun could be used for much more. Like, it feels like if he was in a relationship with Blake, it just feels like you could do much more with his character. So I don't know, it's just a bit disappointing. And like I will continue to mention, Blake still hasn't mentioned anything about Faunus rights and Faunus oppression since Volume 6, although like it was a thing that was apparent in Volume 7. Like, Faunus are literally struggling in Mantle, and she doesn't mention this shit at all. And to the one motherfucker that told me everyone's struggling, you know, it's everyone's problem. Yes, everybody is struggling. We're not saying that, but you also got to think about it like this. Her entire character is about Faunus fucking oppression, so she should be speaking about that. She should be caring for everybody, but she should also be honing in on Faunus. It's just like fucking Black Lives Matter. If you're a Black Lives Matter activist, you should be talking about Black lives. We're not saying that only Black lives matter. We're not saying that. All lives matter. However, since Black people be getting fucked up out here, you gotta say Black lives matter. All lives do matter. Every life matters. Asian, white, whatever. It doesn't matter. All lives matter. But the main reason it's called Black Lives Matter is because dumb shit happens to Black people all the fucking time. And it's not to say it don't happen to other races. It do. It probably happens so fucking much, and it just don't get reported on. And that's just sad. And that's just life. But you know, it's still Black Lives Matter. So it's just to simply say, Faunus matter. Yeah. Everybody's struggling in Mantle, but Blake is supposed to be fighting for Faunus rights, and she didn't mention it at all. Not a lick of a Faunus at all. And Yang still hasn't mentioned her mom since like Volume 5. Like, she hasn't thought about her, she hasn't mentioned her, etc, etc. And like, Raven seems kind of important to the plot, and you know, maybe they mention her hopefully, you know, in the new volume, you know, whatever what Viz does, you know, hopefully I get hired. But you know, hopefully she gets mentioned, hopefully they could talk, you know, and hopefully it's, you know, cool and good and things of that nature, because it just seems very weird. Like, Raven has been right about a couple things, and Yang hasn't batted an eye, hasn't used the lessons, hasn't reflected on it, you know. Raven hasn't even been mentioned when it comes to like other maidens. Like, it's just weird. And also, to get the one comment out the way, yo, you know, these plot points are finished. No, just because Adam died doesn't mean racism doesn't fucking exist. That's a dumb point ever. You could kill every member of the fucking KKK. It doesn't mean racism for Black people just disappears. No, Black people are still going to be oppressed, just like a lot of other fucking people. That's just not how it works. You can't kill Adam and then just say problem gone, because guess what? It's not just a Adam thing. Yeah, Adam was the forefront of it, but that doesn't mean it's just gone from the world. And just because you say, oh well, yeah, you know, Yang talked with her mother, she had one talk. Does having one talk with your mother make you understand her at all? Does that make you understand her life, why she did what she did, who she is, the person she is, etc, etc? No, it doesn't. And if you want to say, oh, but you know, Yang already understood that, guess what? The viewers fucking don't. The viewers don't. The viewers do, technically, but like, we're not shown it. And you know, why assume? Like, why would you make the viewer assume when you have a anime? Like, this is a anime. This is a anime. Please, please show it. Please show it. And going back to Blake, they just never mentioned like Adam at all. Like when they made it to Atlas, you know, Adam got a fucking Schnee Dust Company mark, and it was like supposedly you could assume from Atlas, and they didn't mention him. Not a lick of Adam, not at all. Not about the mistreatment, not about anything. Her PTSD didn't act up when she seen the Schnee Dust Company mark, seen fucking Atlas as a whole. She didn't freak out or anything. It's just like perfect time to have her PTSD come up. And if you really wanted to push Bumblebee, you could have Yang help her. And then also, if you wanted to, you could have her talk about the Faunus and then Yang helping her with the Faunus. You just completed so many things that needed to be completed. Or not even completed, but you just added progress to so many things that needed progress. That could better the relationship and the story for these characters than fucking Yang teaching Blake's corny ass how to dance. Anyways, this video's turning out long, and I'm probably gonna cut a lot of this out, but yeah. Is Bumblebee planned from the start? Yeah, I could perfectly say that. Is Bumblebee good? Nah, not really. I wouldn't go that far. And you know, does Bumblebee being planned from the start make it worse or better? I guess you could say that's for interpretation on anybody's parts, but me personally, I'm gonna say it makes it worse. I just think that shit ass. But anyways, I love you guys. I'll see you guys in the next video. I don't ask for this often, but you know, please check out Neo Soul. It's in the description. It's a RWBY, you know, alternate universe. Please just check it out if you got time. If you want to just give it a little quick read, please do it. You know, I'd appreciate it a lot. But anyways, hit that like button, subscribe, and you know, all the other stuff, but I'd mainly appreciate it if you check out Neo Soul. And yeah, peace.